G'day, Steve Morgan here, Australian Bass Tournaments, and we've come to the conclusion of the 2022 Zerek BARRA Tour. It all finishes with the Samaki two-day event on Peter Faust Dam. Let me explain the situation. Guys fish from 4 in the afternoon till midnight for 2 days in a row. Biggest bag of 5 BARRA. Each day you add them together, the biggest weight at the end wins, and we get those weights with a length weight curve. So what you do is you catch your BARRA, you put it on the mat, take a photo, we turn that into a weight, and up it goes on the scoreboard. Samaki event, Team Samaki wins. It's the ABT sponsor karma thing we're always talking about. Josh and Tommy got the job done. Nearly 125 kilos of BARRA in the end. It was amazing. Considering when the scoreboards got blacked out 2 hours before the end, there was 300 grams and you were in behind 300 grams behind TBC. Both had 4 fish. So Josh, I reckon you were pretty nervous, mate, looking at that scoreboard coming into the last couple of hours.
Mate, I don't think I've been this nervous since I went to school for the first day. It was pretty stressful, but we kept prepping each other up and pumping each other, and we got it done.
Tommy, you've been in this situation before, mate. You've probably got more second place finishes than anyone on tour, mate. Were you a bit nervous coming into, knowing you had Laney and Ben there? They know how to get the big ones in Faust. They just needed a bite to sort of catch you up, didn't they?
Yeah, no, they're absolute guns. I was definitely a bit nervous, but I was pretty relaxed. I knew we had a good fish on the spot and just had to fingers crossed that the fish rolled through and we made it happen. So I was pretty happy.
How far away do you guys fish from each other? Can you see each other or not?
Yeah, we're about a kilometre away, so we can see the lights turn on when they hook up and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty stressful.
Do you guys play with their head and flick your lights on to make them think you're hooking up?
No, every time we see their lights on, I'll be like, they're on again, and then we just quiet on the boat for about 5 minutes until we jam another one, and then we're back in the zone.
You're back in it. Now, Tommy, I credit you. You taught me how to fish the Samaki Reddick, the DS80. We shot a section with you maybe a year or two ago about how the DS80 Reddick gets down deep and you fish it real slow. You created a bit of a monster, mate. That thing catches fish all over the joint for everyone now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty special to see everyone in the ABT using them. Like everyone's saying, showing me photos of the pink Reddick and a BARRA's mouth, and they've become a bit of an iconic lure now. So it's absolutely awesome. And
so take us through your techniques. You happen to also be one of the biggest Garmin dealers in Southeast Queensland, so you really know how to use your Garmins. And Josh was telling me, he says, it's just like video game fishing, mate. This was an awakening for you, wasn't it? See a fish, catch a fish.
Oh, it's a total new way to fish, and it's so exciting. So even the all-nighter, it goes a long time, you are glued to the screen, and it's a race to get your cast to the fish on the screen.
Tommy, take us through your system. How do you have it set up? Do you anchor? Do you tie up? How do you have your sounders set up? Tell these guys how you get it done.
Yep, so we were on a 9-foot flat, but we were positioned on the front hand side of it in about 11 foot, the windy side of it. And the fish were coming around the boat on the front side, so we opted to put the pole down at the front with perspective view on the LVS 34. We had the 16 on the front, and we lined up the middle of the pole with one of the trees so we could use that as a guide on how far the fish were away. And as the fish would come around, depending on what depth they were, we'd throw either a Reddick, a big soft plastic, or the new hard licious at them and get them to bite.
And that three-pronged approach, it's like playing golf, isn't it? You pick your club for the shot.
Yeah, it does. Obviously, it's been a steep learning curve this week. Tommy's the gun on the deck, can read the sounder, and just learning about where the fish are on the bottom, if they're in the high water, close to the boat, and we're fortunate enough to have quite a few lures in our arsenal to target those fish. Take
us through this new vibe. I know that we saw it at the After Trade show, and it obviously catches plenty of fish now. You must be happy with how it's come out. And while you talk about it, I'm going to show it to the camera.
Yeah, so this is a brand new lure. I think it's probably the best lure we've made to date. We handed a few out to a few boys just staying in the local cabins, and they've come back. And one guy in our next cabin, he's like third cast, jammed a good BARRA, and they catch. So they sink a lot slower than our current vibe, about half the rate. And especially for BARRA, like we all know, sometimes even the jerkbaiting, they'll sit there and follow it. So just with that really slow, controlled sink rate, they get the bites. It's not a soft vibe either. It's like a hard body lure with that little soft plastic tail on there. I know we've got, Tommy, you had some great some vision from the Garmin, and we'll play that in the cutaway here of the BARRA following and playing with these lures. How do you have to tease them into eating it? Do they eat it straight away, or is there some technique to get him to go it?
Yeah, so if we're fishing them on the bottom in about 11 foot, we'll just do a small hop, just like a little crayfish moving along the ground. But we also found fish suspended in 60 foot of water up the top of the treetop. And they're eating really small shrimp. So these clear, light, soft or hard plastic vibes are great for it because when the fish would come up on live scope, you could see them nosing it, and you just hop it up and stop it. And if you just keep drawing the vibe up further and further, they'll chase it, and maybe 1 in 10 will have a bite at it. So.
Yeah. So good fun anyway. Whether they're biting or not, you're at the edge of your seat the whole time. Take us through some of the other techniques. That was the hard vibe.
Yeah.
Go through the Reddick DS80, mate. I've never seen one that colour. What's that one?
Well, this is actually the new DS90, so this is a bit of a shallow Reddick. This one, it dives to about 5-6 foot, and when those fish are up high, positioned at the front of the boat, we were able to put that in front of the face and still suspended there, and they come stock with YS81, so they're built for these big barra in the dams.
Take us through the Samaki rod you're using there, mate. That is light in the hand, but obviously got a bit of power, because I saw on some of your videos of your catches, mate, you do not go easy on it.
Yeah, no, this is one of the first rods that Josh ever gave me, actually. It's got all the numbers are wiped off the back, and it's just a medium heavy 7-foot bait cast rod, just with the 150 size bait cast reel with the new X-Braid upgrade pentagram on there, fishing Altolis 50-pound leader as well. And just nice soft rod, you can feel a lot through the blank, but it's just enough to get them out of the tree, so they're an awesome little rod.
Take us through technique 3. I see you got a big Molex tied on there with about 9,000 hooks on it. What situation did you throw that?
Yeah, so these were when the fish were sort of moving quite quick through the screen and position up off the bottom. They were feeding for big baits, and winding these fast past their face pretty fast would get an extra bite or two for the bigger fish. And we got them rigged up with a couple of big stingers on the bottom so they can't miss it. And
yeah, you're not mucking around with those hooks, mate. They are what normal people use plus a size or two.
Yeah, they're actually a Japanese tuna hook, so super sharp and strong enough for the big barra too.
How do you tell if the tuna's Japanese?
Look at its eyes.
Yeah, cool. I thought so. Josh, take us through your X-Braid, the Altolis braid, and you're back in line now. You were out of line for a while, but you come back with a bang. A lot of the top-end guys are using that braid because it's so friggin' thin.
Yeah, it is. It's a great testing ground. We've released one. There's one called a X-Braid upgrade, which you'll see there. It comes in a green and a multicolour. But there was several times where fish wrapped us around multiple trees in snags, and we're going to lose it, and we didn't actually lose one fish this time, and we were both very impressed. So.
Yeah, I know the brim guys and the bass guys love it because of its diameter, and again, a 50-pound braid. It seems like if you're fishing under about 40-pound braid in this joint, you're open to getting your pants pulled down by a barra, and they're going to go home with your lure. Tell us a little bit about that leader as well. You've got an 80-pound fluorocarbon here. Was that the one that you use most of the time?
Yeah, so we transition between on the smaller DS80s. We use a 60-pound fluorocarbon, and 70-pound I used on my vibes, and up to 80-pound we got chewed off for the first time last night, and we ended up upgrading to 80-pound just to hopefully hang on. We always talk about the ABT sponsor karma thing. Coming into the Samaki round, did you think we're going to channel some of that because you're due?
Yeah, no, we were having a bit of a joke about it, so it's pretty cool to make it happen, yeah.
Yeah, no, we notice it happens all the time. Josh, thanks for coming on tour. Thanks for hanging around all the guys. I know we've got an addict here now. Sorry, Kate, that he's going to book in 2 weeks again for next year. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm definitely coming, so she doesn't know that yet, but yeah, I'll be back for sure. This has been an unbelievable week. Yourself and Nicole just run a great time, and all the sponsors getting involved, and all the anglers have been so warming, and we've had a great time.
Awesome, mate. And win number 2. Sorry, Muzz, it was without you.
Yeah, no, big thanks to all my sponsors too. Maui Jim, Buck and Bass, the boys at Barra Jacks at Koana, and Garmin. So you guys are all awesome.
Awesome.
Cheers.
There you go. Great winning team. The sponsor karma's kicking in strong, and we are done for the 2022 Zerek Barra Tour. We'll see you early in 2023 for the Venom Barra Open. It'll be on at Awonga in February.